How to touch her during a hug that constantly changes attraction, psychology tricks. Let's address something most men misunderstand about physical connection. Attraction is often decided in the quiet, subtle moments, not in dramatic gestures. A hug, when done with awareness, can communicate more than a dozen rehearsed compliments. As the poet Rumi once said, love is the bridge between you and everything. That bridge is often built through touch long before it's built through words. Many men hug like they're following social protocol, quick squeeze, light pat on the back, immediate release. It's safe, it's polite, and it's forgettable. That kind of embrace signals familiarity, not desire. But when a man is grounded in himself, shoulders relaxed, chest open, movements unhurried, his hug feels different. He doesn't collapse forward or hang awkwardly. He stands upright and allows her to come into his frame. The key shift isn't force, it's presence. One subtle adjustment in posture, keeping your spine straight and your breathing steady, instantly changes the emotional tone. And then there's the point of contact. Instead of a high, distant shoulder tap, allow your hand to rest confidently at the mid-back for a brief, calm second longer than expected. Not roaming, not grabbing, just steady. That placement engages her nervous system in a way that feels secure yet intimate. The pause matters. The stillness matters. When you release first but slowly, without rushing away, you create contrast. And contrast creates memory. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding that the body reads signals faster than the mind. When your touch communicates certainty, calm, and restraint, her perception of you shifts. Attraction deepens not because you tried harder, but because you led the moment with composure. If you're ready to master the silent language of connection, type hug in the comments and start paying attention to the small adjustments that change everything. The social script versus the neurological echo. The forgettable hug fails because it follows a social script, and most men never question that script. They step in, wrap quickly, pat her back, release, and walk away believing they did something meaningful, when in reality, they simply completed a polite ritual that signals safety in the most neutral way possible. That kind of touch communicates, we are good. We are friendly. There is no tension here. And while that sounds positive, it quietly shuts down the very current that fuels attraction. Her nervous system stays alert, upright, socially engaged. It does not soften. It does not lean in. It does not register you as a man who could change her emotional state. If you truly want to understand psychology tricks that shift perception, you must first understand female psychology at the level of the body, not the conversation. Attraction is not built on clever lines. It is not built on intensity. It is built on contrast. The average hug closes a loop. The powerful hug opens one. The average hug ends energy. The powerful hug suspends it. Do not rush. Do not squeeze as if you are checking off a box. Be deliberate. Be grounded. Be present. That is where the shift begins. Most men believe attraction is about doing more pressure, more enthusiasm, more movement, but primal attraction is built on stillness and intention. A hurried touch reveals internal tension. A steady, unhurried touch signals composure. And composure is magnetic because it implies control over oneself. When your body is calm, her nervous system reads that as safety. Safety is the prerequisite for desire. Without safety, there is politeness. With safety, there is possibility. This is not manipulation. It is understanding how to fall in love through embodied experience rather than surface performance. The framework here is what we can call the somatic imprint, meaning you are not trying to persuade her logically, you are creating a sensory memory. You are leaving behind a data point in her nervous system that lingers after the moment ends. Think about that carefully. Conversations fade. Words blur. But the body remembers how it felt around you. That is why the somatic imprint rests on 3 pillars: tempo, stillness, and anchor point. Tempo means you control the speed of the interaction. Do not move at the frantic rhythm of social expectation. Slow down by a fraction. When you step in, do it with measured confidence. Let your arms wrap around her fully, not halfway. Do not clamp down. Do not hover awkwardly. Simply arrive. That slight deceleration disrupts the social script. It tells her body this is not autopilot. This is intentional. In psychology tricks that actually work, interruption of pattern is everything. Female psychology is highly attuned to emotional shifts. When you break the predictable rhythm, her awareness sharpens. Stillness is the second pillar, and it is the one most men fail to understand. After you wrap her, resist the urge to sway nervously, pat her back repeatedly, or speak immediately. Hold, breathe. Let one full, calm breath pass. That stillness creates a pocket of suspended time. In that micropause, her nervous system recalibrates. It senses stability. It senses that you are not seeking validation. You are simply there. That is powerful. Do not underestimate silence. Do not underestimate the strength of doing less. The man who can be still communicates internal order. The man who fidgets communicates uncertainty. And attraction does not grow in uncertainty. It grows in grounded presence. This is how to fall in love at the somatic level, by allowing the body to associate you with steadiness and calm intensity. The third pillar is the anchor point. An anchor point is a specific area of contact that subtly shifts the emotional tone of the hug. Most social hugs keep contact high and loose, shoulders, upper back, quick tap. A more intentional hug allows your hand to rest firmly, respectfully, at the mid to lower back for a brief moment longer than expected. Not sliding, not grabbing, resting. That location matters because it feels supportive rather than distant. It communicates containment without aggression. It says, I have you, without saying anything at all. In female psychology, context defines meaning. The same touch can feel neutral or electric depending on tempo and stillness. Combined with calm breath and measured pace, that anchor point becomes a neurological shortcut. In under 5 seconds, her perception can shift from safe friend to grounded masculine presence. Do not confuse this with force. Do not press harder to compensate. Pressure is not power. Intention is power. When you release, do not snap away abruptly. Let your hands slide away naturally. Create a clean ending, not a rushed escape. The exit matters as much as the entry. If you disengage too quickly, you signal discomfort. If you linger awkwardly, you signal neediness. The balance is simple. Hold with intention. Release with certainty. That rhythm leaves an echo. And that echo is the entire point. Many men sabotage themselves by speaking too soon during the hug. They crack a joke. They comment on something trivial. They fill the silence because silence makes them uncomfortable. Do not do that. Be comfortable in the pause. Let her feel the difference between you and every other man who rushes to prove something. Confidence is quiet. Security is steady. When you embody that, you do not need theatrics. The hug becomes a message. I am calm. I am present. I am not chasing. This is where psychology tricks intersect with authenticity. If your internal state is chaotic, no technique will save you. You must regulate yourself first. Breathe slowly before you step in. Relax your shoulders. Feel your feet on the ground. This is not mystical, it is practical. The body communicates faster than language. When your nervous system is regulated, hers can entrain to yours. That is the subtle science behind how to fall in love, shared regulation, shared safety, shared stillness. Attraction often ignites in moments where someone feels unexpectedly at ease. Understand this clearly. You are not trying to overwhelm her senses. You are trying to give her nervous system a break from constant stimulation. In a world of noise, the calm man stands out. In a culture of frantic energy, the composed man becomes memorable. Do not chase intensity. Create depth. Depth is slower. Depth is quieter. Depth lingers. And when she walks away replaying that brief embrace in her mind, what she is really replaying is how her body felt, steady, held, understood without words. That is the somatic imprint. That is the neurological echo. When you apply these psychology tricks responsibly, rooted in respect and awareness, you elevate the interaction beyond routine. You stop performing and start embodying. Female psychology responds not to volume but to congruence. If your words say confidence, but your touch says hesitation, she believes the touch. If your posture says certainty and your tempo says calm, she believes that instead. Alignment creates attraction. Misalignment kills it. So the next time you move in for a hug, reset your mindset. Do not think, how do I impress her? Think, how do I ground this moment? Slow your tempo. Embrace with fullness. Hold in stillness. Choose the anchor point with awareness. Release cleanly. That is it. Simple, direct, powerful. When practiced consistently, this small shift changes how she categorizes you. You are no longer just socially pleasant. You become emotionally distinct. And distinction is the seed of desire. Tempo. And here's the speed mistake that instantly neutralizes any potential attraction, moving at a conversational pace. Friendly energy is quick. It's light. It's efficient. It's the rhythm of coworkers, cousins, and casual acquaintances. But masculine energy, the kind that makes her pause internally, is unhurried. It does not rush to prove comfort. It does not scramble to fill space. By initiating the hug just 25% slower than is socially normal, you interrupt her expectations and command her full attention. That small delay feels insignificant to you. It feels enormous to her nervous system. Most men move at the speed of habit. They step in as they talk. They close distance while finishing a sentence. They wrap and release in one seamless, forgettable motion. It's automatic. And because it's automatic, it carries no charge. Do not be automatic. Be deliberate. That is the difference between a social gesture and a moment she replays later. When you slow your tempo, you create contrast. Contrast creates awareness. Awareness creates tension. And tension, when safe and grounded, is the birthplace of attraction. You must understand this clearly. Attraction does not grow in predictability. It grows in subtle disruption. When you approach 25% slower, her brain registers something different. Not threatening, not aggressive, different. And different demands attention. Think about how a high-value man moves through a room. He doesn't rush toward people as if he's late for his own life. He arrives. He pauses. He chooses. That is the energy you must embody before the hug even begins. Tempo starts before contact. It begins the second you decide to close the distance. Do not shuffle in casually. Do not bounce in with nervous enthusiasm. Step toward her with grounded intention. Shoulders relaxed. Spine tall. Eyes steady. Let your movement say, I am here because I choose to be here. That is masculine energy at its core, not forceful, not loud, simply certain. When you initiate at a slower tempo, you interrupt the social script. The social script says, quick smile, quick step, quick squeeze, quick release. Everyone follows it. Everyone blends into it. That is why almost no one stands out. If you want to attract women at a deeper level, you must be willing to move differently from the herd. Slower does not mean awkward. Slower does not mean stiff. It means intentional. Imagine the difference between someone grabbing a coffee cup absent-mindedly and someone lifting a glass of wine slowly, aware of the moment. The action is similar. The energy is not. Women are extremely sensitive to energy shifts, not because they overthink, because their nervous systems are finely tuned to subtle cues. When you slow down, you force her awareness to shift from autopilot to presence. She feels the change before she understands it. And that feeling is what matters. You are not trying to impress her mind. You are influencing her body's perception of you. Here is what happens neurologically. When something deviates slightly from expectation, the brain releases a small spike of alertness. It pays attention. That alertness can either turn into discomfort or intrigue. The deciding factor is your internal state. If you slow down but feel anxious inside, she senses tension. If you slow down and feel calm, she senses grounded control. That is why technique without inner alignment fails. Do not fake composure. Build it. Before stepping in, take one slow breath. Drop your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Feel your feet on the ground. These micro-adjustments matter. A high-value man regulates himself first. He does not rely on her reaction to stabilize his emotions. That self-regulation is magnetic. Now, let's talk about the approach itself. When you move toward her, allow a split second of eye contact before you open your arms. Not intense staring, not dramatic, just steady presence. That eye contact, combined with a slightly slower movement, creates anticipation. Anticipation is subtle electricity. It's not loud. It's not theatrical. It's felt. Do not fling your arms open wide in an exaggerated gesture. That communicates eagerness. Eagerness can be warm, but it rarely builds polarity. Instead, open your arms naturally, as if the hug is inevitable, as if it's already decided. That certainty shifts the frame. Here's the key: friendly energy is quick because it seeks approval. Intentional energy is unhurried because it assumes connection. You must operate from assumption, not desperation. When you rush, you communicate, "I hope this is okay." When you slow down, you communicate, "This is natural." That is not about control. It's about self-trust. Men between 35 and 70 often sabotage themselves here because they feel pressure. Pressure to appear youthful. Pressure to appear confident. Pressure to perform. Performance speeds you up. Presence slows you down. And presence is what attracts women far more than performance ever will. Imagine two scenarios. In the first, you step in quickly, give a tight squeeze, pat her back twice, and release while still speaking. She registers warmth. Nothing more. In the second, you step in slightly slower. You wrap fully. You hold for one calm breath. You release smoothly. Same hug, different tempo. Completely different impact. Tempo changes perception. This is where many men misunderstand masculine energy. They think it's about intensity. It's not. It's about steadiness. Intensity can feel exciting for a moment. Steadiness feels safe. And safety is the soil where attraction grows roots. You must resist the urge to mirror her speed. If she moves quickly, do not match it. Stay grounded in your own rhythm. A high-value man sets the tempo. He does not chase it. When you hold your pace, you subtly lead the emotional tone without saying a word. Do not overcorrect by moving painfully slow. This is not a slow-motion movie scene. It's a slight adjustment. 25% slower. Enough to register. Not enough to feel unnatural. Subtlety is power. Think of tempo like music. If a song plays at a frantic speed, it creates excitement but also tension. If it plays slightly slower, it creates groove. Groove invites the body to relax and lean in. Your movement is music. Let it have rhythm. There is also something else happening beneath the surface. When you slow down, you communicate that you are not in a hurry to get somewhere else. You are not rushed. You are not distracted. In a world where everyone is checking phones and multitasking conversations, that alone is refreshing. Do not underestimate the attractiveness of calm focus. Another mistake men make is starting the hug before they've fully arrived mentally. They're thinking about what to say next. They're scanning the room. They're distracted. She feels that split attention. Women don't always analyze it, but they sense it. Be fully there. When you step in, let the hug be the only thing happening for that second. That is masculine energy at its most refined, directed attention. Now let's talk about emotional congruence. If you've been joking loudly and moving fast, then suddenly attempt a slow, intentional hug, the shift may feel inconsistent. You must gradually embody the tempo throughout the interaction. Slow your gestures. Slow your speech slightly. Create coherence. When your entire presence aligns, the hug feels like a natural extension of who you are. This is how a high-value man attracts women without flashy tactics. He becomes the environment. Calm, steady, unshakable. Do not rush the exit either. Tempo applies to the release as much as the initiation. Many men disengage too quickly, almost snapping backward as if afraid to linger. That abrupt exit collapses the tension you just built. Instead, after that brief, grounded hold, release smoothly. Let your hands slide away naturally. Maintain eye contact for half a second. Then step back. That clean exit seals the experience. If you rush away, it feels like you are unsure. If you linger awkwardly, it feels like you are seeking more. The sweet spot is certainty. You arrived with intention. You leave with intention. There is a psychological principle at play here, the peak end rule. People remember the peak of an experience and the ending. If the tempo of your hug creates a subtle peak, a pause, a breath, and then ends smoothly, her memory of that moment becomes amplified. She may not consciously dissect it, but she will remember how it felt. And feeling is everything. Men often ask, how do I stand out? The answer is rarely louder words or bigger gestures. It's refinement. It's control over small details. It's moving through the world like you are not chasing approval. Tempo is one of those details. Do not treat it as a trick. Treat it as an expression of your internal stability. When you internalize this, you'll notice something interesting. Conversations shift. Eye contact lingers. She may step slightly closer next time, not because you forced anything, but because her body associates you with grounded presence. That association builds over time. One hug will not magically transform a dynamic, but consistent energy creates pattern recognition. Pattern recognition creates comfort. Comfort mixed with subtle tension creates attraction. And that is the real goal. You are not trying to overwhelm. You are not trying to manipulate. You are creating a different emotional texture. Most men offer quick friendliness. You offer calm depth. That difference alone can elevate you into a new category in her mind. Remember this. Fast is common. Slow is intentional. Fast blends in. Slow stands out, but only when slow is backed by genuine self-possession. If you feel nervous, do not speed up to hide it. Slow down instead. Slowing down forces you to confront your internal state. It builds composure over time. Practice this not just in hugs, but in daily life. Walk slightly slower. Speak slightly slower. Listen fully before responding. These habits compound. Masculine energy is not about dominating space. It's about owning your pace. When you own your pace, you stop reacting. You start leading, not through force, through steadiness. And here is the quiet truth. Women often crave emotional steadiness more than spectacle. They experience enough unpredictability in life. When they encounter a man who feels grounded, who moves with intention, who does not rush connection, it feels rare. Be rare. Be the man who is comfortable in silence. Be the man who doesn't panic in proximity. Be the man who steps in slowly, holds calmly, and steps back with quiet certainty. That is how tempo transforms a simple hug into a shift in attraction. Not by doing more, by doing it with intention. Tempo is power. Most men move at a friendly, rushed pace, and that kills tension before it even starts. If you want attraction to shift, you must slow down. Move 25% slower than normal. Let the moment stretch. Let the silence breathe. When your energy is unhurried, you signal confidence. You signal control. You command attention without saying a word. Don't rush the hug. Let it. Own the rhythm. And if this hits home, drop a comment right now. I control the tempo. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp psychological insights, and remember, speed is friendly. Slowness is powerful. Stillness. That is where most men fail. They think attraction is built through constant action, constant talking, constant reassurance. It is not. Attraction deepens in silence. It strengthens in presence. It matures in controlled energy. When you step into an embrace with a woman, especially as a man who has lived, experienced, endured, you must understand this. The hug is not a social ritual. It is an energetic exchange. It is a psychological doorway. And if you mishandle it with nervous chatter, playful pats, or restless movement, you collapse the moment before it ever has the chance to grow. In modern life, we are overstimulated. Notifications, noise, endless talking. Everyone is trying to explain themselves. Everyone is trying to prove something. The man who understands Old Stoic wisdom knows that power is not in noise. It is in restraint. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In the embrace, do not perform. Be. Once your arms are around her, become still. Do not speak. Do not pat her back like she is a teammate. Do not rush to end it. You simply exist. You breathe slowly. You allow your chest to rise and fall naturally. That stillness is not passive. It is intentional. It signals groundedness. It communicates that you are not anxious for approval. It tells her nervous system that you are regulated. And here is the psychology behind it. When you remove social feedback, no talking, no joking, no fidgeting, her brain shifts from analytical mode into sensory mode. She stops thinking and starts feeling. Her body begins to register warmth, pressure, rhythm. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the state where the body feels safe. And safety is the gateway to attraction. Safety and tension can coexist. Calm and desire can coexist, but only in stillness. You must understand this at a deep level. A rushed hug feels transactional. A talking hug feels friendly. A pat on the back hug feels platonic. But a steady, grounded, silent hug feels intimate. Not because you're doing something inappropriate, not because you're escalating aggressively, but because you're holding space without flinching. That is iron mind discipline. That is Stoicism when in action. Most men cannot tolerate silence. They fill it. They break it. They sabotage it. You must not. When you hold her, feel your feet on the ground. Relax your shoulders. Slow your breath deliberately. Let there be a slight pause before release. Not awkward, not forced, just enough to create a subtle imprint. This is not manipulation. It is mastery of your own nervous system. And as Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. If you cannot master your own impulse to talk, to move, to fidget, you cannot master attraction. Attraction responds to emotional steadiness. Especially today, when many women are overwhelmed by chaotic energy, by men who are constantly trying to impress, constantly trying to entertain. The man who is calm stands out. The man who is silent stands out. The man who can hold still without discomfort creates contrast. And contrast creates curiosity. Understand this clearly. You are not trying to create sexual tension through force. You are allowing tension to emerge naturally by not interrupting it. In that moment of stillness, her body has time to register your presence, your warmth, your scent, your breathing rhythm. Her analytical mind quiets. Her sensory awareness heightens. That shift is powerful. It is subtle, but it is powerful. This is Old Stoic wisdom applied to modern relationships. Control yourself. Regulate yourself. Led through calm. When you become the man who can stand in silence without shrinking, you communicate security. When you do not rush to fill space, you communicate confidence. When you release the hug slowly and naturally, without abruptness, you leave a neurological echo. She may not consciously understand why that embrace felt different. She does not need to. The body remembers what the mind forgets. That is why stillness matters. That is why discipline matters. In a world addicted to speed, you must move slowly. In a world addicted to noise, you must cultivate silence. In a world addicted to performance, you must embody presence. This is not about tricks. It is about internal strength. Stoicism win is not a slogan. It is a standard. You train your breath. You train your posture. You train your emotional state, so that when you hold her, you are not seeking validation. You are offering stability, and stability is attractive. Stability is rare. Stability is magnetic. Repeat this to yourself. Do not rush. Do not speak. Do not pat. Be still. Be grounded. Breathe. That is the instruction. Short, clear, effective. When you practice this consistently, you develop what I call an iron mind. An iron mind does not panic in closeness. It does not overreact to tension. It does not dissolve under silence. It remains steady. And steadiness is power. Remember what Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to be quiet. Be brave enough to hold the moment without escaping it. Because when you master stillness, you master the emotional frame of the interaction. You become the calm center. And when you are the calm center, attraction has space to grow. Anchor point. Most men underestimate the power of a hug because they treat it like a social formality instead of what it truly is, a moment of silent communication that speaks directly to female psychology, bypassing logic and landing straight in the nervous system. The detail that changes everything is what I call the anchor point. Most men, almost automatically, place their hands high on her shoulders or somewhere between her shoulder blades, as if they are patting a teammate after a meeting. Don't do that. That placement signals politeness. It signals safety. It signals neutrality. And neutrality does not spark desire. If you want to understand how to fall in love from a psychological perspective, you must first understand that attraction often begins with subtle physical cues that feel unplanned but are deeply intentional. The upper back hug is the anatomical equivalent of being categorized as nice. It is forgettable. It is procedural. It fades from memory the moment it ends. But when your hand finds its anchor lower, specifically resting on the natural curve of her lower back, everything changes. That location is not random. It is a biological sweet spot. It sits at the intersection of support and sensitivity. It is close enough to feel intimate, yet respectful enough to remain appropriate. That is where the imprint happens. When your palm settles there, firm, steady, warm, you are not grabbing, you are not squeezing, you are not performing. You are anchoring. Be deliberate. Be calm. Be slow. This is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks because it operates below conscious awareness. Her mind may not analyze it, but her body registers it immediately. The lower back is neurologically responsive. It carries a subtle vulnerability because it is not a place strangers typically touch. When you place your hand there with confidence and stillness, you communicate three messages at once. I've got you, I'm not rushed, and I'm comfortable in this moment. That combination is powerful. It triggers safety and intrigue at the same time, and that tension is where attraction lives. Don't rush the hug. Most men hug quickly, as if they are checking a box. Slow down. When you slow your movements, you create contrast. Contrast creates awareness. Awareness creates memory. As your hand finds her lower back, allow your fingers to rest naturally along the curve, not spread aggressively, not stiff, just present. Stay silent. Silence amplifies sensation. If you start talking, joking, or filling the space with nervous energy, you break the neurological loop that is forming. Remember, this is not about force. It is about placement and timing. In female psychology, context is everything. A hand on the shoulder says, "We are friends." A hand on the lower back says, "There is something more here." That subtle shift is what makes this anchor point so effective. You must understand that attraction often grows from micro-moments. A brief hug can leave a longer echo than an entire evening of conversation if it touches the right emotional chord. This is not manipulation. It is awareness. It is knowing how to align your body language with your intention. When your hand anchors low, you create a contained sense of closeness. You are not pulling her tightly. You are not overpowering. You are steady. That steadiness signals maturity. It signals grounded masculinity without the need for exaggeration. Many men overcompensate with exaggerated gestures because they think bigger equals better. It doesn't. Precision wins. The lumbar curve is precise. It is intimate without being inappropriate. It is supportive without being distant. That balance is rare, and rarity increases value. Another important detail: pressure. Don't be limp. Don't be rigid. Apply gentle but unmistakable firmness. Your hand should feel alive, not passive. A soft, uncertain touch communicates hesitation. A grounded, warm touch communicates intention. That intention is what leaves the imprint. If you study psychology tricks used in social bonding, you will find that the nervous system responds to consistent, confident contact far more strongly than to erratic or overly light touch. This is because predictability builds trust. Trust lowers resistance. Lower resistance opens the door to emotional receptivity. When she feels that your hand is steady on her lower back, her body relaxes instead of pulling away. Relaxation is the gateway to connection. Stay present for 1 extra second longer than usual. Not awkwardly long, just slightly longer than the average hug. That extra second creates differentiation. Differentiation creates memorability, and memorability fuels attraction. If you want to understand how to fall in love in real-world terms, understand this. People fall in love with how someone makes them feel, not with what someone says. A well-placed anchor point can create a subtle emotional spike that her mind may revisit later without fully understanding why. She may recall that hug days later and think, there was something different about that. That something is the neurological echo you created by slowing down, staying silent, and anchoring low. Don't treat this like a trick to use carelessly. Treat it like a skill to master responsibly. Your mindset matters. If your internal state is rushed, insecure, or outcome focused, she will feel that through your touch. Before you hug her, regulate yourself. Breathe. Relax your shoulders. Ground your feet. Then move in. The body communicates faster than words ever could. In female psychology, congruence is crucial. If your touch says confidence, but your body says tension, the message becomes mixed. Mixed signals weaken attraction. Clean signals strengthen it. The lower back anchor works because it aligns biology with intention. It subtly frames you as protective without being controlling, close without being intrusive. That balance is rare, and rare experiences stand out. Focus on mastering this one sequence instead of trying to memorize dozens of psychology tricks. Slow down. Stay silent. Anchor low. That is the protocol. When done correctly, it feels natural. It does not feel rehearsed. It does not feel forced. It feels like a man who knows exactly where he stands and is comfortable standing there. Women consistently recall this detail because it surprises them. They are used to shoulder pats and polite embraces. When they experience something slightly different, slightly deeper, the contrast sparks curiosity. Curiosity is the first step toward emotional investment. Emotional investment is how to fall in love over time. Do not underestimate how the lower back functions symbolically. It is close to her center of gravity. When you anchor there, you are, in a subtle way, stabilizing her. Stability is attractive, especially in a world filled with unpredictability and distraction. Be the man who moves slowly in a fast world. Be the man who communicates without over-explaining. Be the man who understands that attraction is often about what is felt, not what is displayed. The hug is not the end goal. It is the opening move in a longer emotional conversation. If you remember nothing else, remember this directive: slow down, stay silent, and anchor your hand on her lower back. Do not rush the entry. Do not rush the exit. Let the moment breathe. Let her body register your presence. Let your stillness speak. In a culture that teaches men to perform, this is about precision and restraint. Restraint creates tension. Tension creates attraction. Attraction, when nurtured with respect and emotional intelligence, becomes connection. And connection, built on repeated moments of grounded presence, is how to fall in love in a way that feels natural and lasting. Master this anchor point not as a gimmick, but as an expression of calm confidence. Because in the end, the most powerful psychology tricks are the ones that feel effortless, and nothing feels more effortless than a man who knows exactly where to place his hand and exactly when to let go. If this opened your eyes, don't just watch and move on. Master it. Slow down. Stay silent. Anchor with intention. That's the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. If you're serious about understanding attraction and using psychology tricks the right way, like this video, subscribe for more sharp insights and share it with a man who needs to stop hugging like a handshake. Now lock this in your mind. Comment below, slow, silent, lower back, type it out, own it, and make every hug count. Exit control. Exit control is where attraction is sealed. Most men obsess over the approach, the smile, the first touch. Few understand that the final second of a hug is where psychology does its deepest work. The beginning creates comfort. The ending creates memory. And memory is what drives desire in modern life, where attention is fragmented and emotional impressions are rare. You must understand this. How you leave her arms determines whether you linger in her mind. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. The exit of a hug is that exact moment. You cannot control her thoughts, but you can control your timing, your breath, your composure. When you let go too quickly, you communicate impatience. When you hold on too long, you communicate uncertainty. Both dissolve tension. Both flatten polarity. But when you release with calm precision, when you disengage half a second before she expects it, or one intentional breath after, you create what psychologists describe as incomplete closure. Her nervous system anticipates a predictable separation. You disrupt that expectation just slightly. That disruption creates awareness. Awareness creates imprint. And imprint creates attraction. This is not manipulation. This is presence. This is discipline. This is Old Stoic wisdom applied to modern connection. In today's world of rushed interactions and distracted minds, the man who moves slowly, deliberately, and with grounded certainty stands apart immediately. As your arms loosen, they do not fall away. They glide, controlled, measured. Your hands slide from her back without scrambling for an awkward pat. No nervous tapping, no rushed retreat. Your body steps back slightly slower than social autopilot demands. One calm beat of eye contact. Not staring, not pleading, simply steady. Then you disengage fully, clean, certain, complete. This does three powerful things at once. First, it signals emotional leadership. You are not reacting. You are deciding. Second, it prevents the hug from collapsing into friendly neutrality. Energy either rises or it fades. When you control the exit, it rises. Third, it leaves her body registering the absence of your warmth. Attraction often grows strongest in the space where something just was. Presence followed by absence. Warmth followed by space. The nervous system encodes contrast far more deeply than consistency. That is biology. That is psychology. That is reality. In Stoicism Win philosophy, we teach that power is quiet. An iron mind does not rush. An iron mind does not cling. An iron mind chooses timing with precision. When you release first, smoothly, confidently, you communicate abundance. You show that you enjoyed the moment, yet you are not dependent on it. That subtle message is everything. In a culture where many men overextend, overexplain, and overstay, restraint becomes magnetic. Think about modern dating environments. Fast messages, instant replies, constant availability. Predictability kills tension. Measured unpredictability sparks curiosity. The exit of a hug is a microcosm of this truth. You create a small emotional cliffhanger. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just enough to make her nervous system lean forward instead of closing off. As Seneca reminded us, he who is brave is free. Bravery here is not aggression. It is the courage to end the moment first, to step back without waiting for permission, to trust that your presence was felt. When you hesitate, you subconsciously ask for reassurance. When you linger awkwardly, you seek validation. But when you release with calm certainty, you demonstrate internal validation. You show that you are centered. You are grounded. You are in control of yourself. And self-control is the foundation of attraction. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that mastery of self precedes mastery of circumstance. If your breathing is steady, your posture upright, your movements unhurried, she feels it. Nervous systems communicate beneath words. She may not consciously analyze it, but her body registers composure as safety and strength. That registration matters more than clever lines, more than surface charm, more than rehearsed tactics. This is why exit control works. It is subtle dominance over your own impulses, not over her. It is disciplined timing. It is masculine restraint. In Stoicism Win practice, we emphasize repetition. Practice this. Hug a friend. Hug a colleague. Notice how most people disengage abruptly or awkwardly. Train yourself to move slower than the world. Train yourself to breathe once before stepping back. Train yourself to hold eye contact for one calm second before fully turning away. That second is where the imprint locks in. Do not rush it. Do not exaggerate it. Precision is power. The man who controls the exit controls the memory, and memory drives future desire. Remember this principle: attraction grows in contrast. If you stay too long, there is no contrast. If you leave too fast, there is no depth. But if you calibrate the exit, presence, pause, release, you create a clean emotional signature. She feels the shift from warmth to space. Her body registers the absence of your touch. The brain seeks completion. That seeking becomes curiosity. Curiosity becomes pull. You are not forcing anything. You are allowing the psychological mechanism to operate naturally. This is iron mind execution. Calm, decisive, measured. Repeat that to yourself. Calm, decisive, measured. In business, in leadership, in relationships, the one who manages transitions wins. Open strongly, close stronger. A hug is a transition. Treat it with respect. Do not underestimate small moments. Life changes in small seconds. Attraction shifts in micro expressions. Emotional memory forms in fractions of time. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Be the man who is unhurried. Be the man who releases first. Be the man who leaves a subtle echo instead of a flat goodbye. When you master the exit, you demonstrate control without force, confidence without noise, presence without dependency. That is Stoicism when embodied. That is Old Stoic wisdom in motion. That is the iron mind in practice. And when you consistently operate from that place, you do not chase attraction. You create it. You do not cling to moments. You define them. You do not hope to be remembered. You ensure you are. All right, my friend. Let's close this the right way. This was never about memorizing a move or copying some psychology trick. It's about understanding something deeper. A hug is not a technique. It's communication. It's energy. It's presence. And when you truly understand that, everything changes. Most men rush. Most men perform. Most men overthink. Don't. Be grounded. Be steady. Be intentional. When you touch her during a hug, let it reflect who you are inside. Calm, centered, certain. Your hands should say, I'm here. Your posture should say, you're safe. Your energy should say, I desire you. That combination, protection and desire at the same time, is what creates real attraction. Not force, not flash, not noise, presence. Remember this, your body speaks before your mouth ever opens. If your touch is nervous, she feels it. If it's rushed, she feels it. But if it's slow, deliberate, and confident, she feels that too. And that feeling lingers long after the hug ends. So here's my sincere advice to you. Stop trying to impress. Start learning to connect. Slow down. Feel your feet on the ground. Control your breathing. Lead with calm strength. That's what separates a forgettable embrace from a moment she replays in her mind. If this perspective shifted something for you, type ready in the comments. Not for me, for yourself. A commitment to show up with intention. Hit subscribe if you're serious about mastering your presence, not just your words. And share this with a man you respect, because sometimes a good man just needs sharper awareness to match his character. Stay steady, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.